ranking, winner ranking, whatever, for season 24, Fuzzvivor, Legends, Subspace, whatever you want to call it. And essentially, what's gonna happen is me and Ren, I think that came out wrong, my bad, are gonna rank everyone left in the game from 12 to 1 of who we think is the least likely to win to the most likely to win. I'll say my number 12, I'll talk about them, and then he'll say his number 12, we'll talk. And we'll just go from that to 1. If you've ever seen the YouTube channels, the Millennium Review, he does this same exact thing for actual survival, where once the merge hits, he ranks everyone based on their edit, how likely he thinks they are to win. So that's basically what this is, but without the
Better,
whole Edgix perspective.
but better. No, I
Yeah.
mean, you have the Edgic perspective. I have a
Yeah, but
different.
like Org Edgic doesn't.
Oh yeah, because it's not like predicted.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna see. Oh, Jenny has 5 CPPs. She's gonna have a growth edit. Like no, there is no edit.
I think it's funner because theirs is like based on pure logic and stuff. Ours is just based on like a guess. It's a guessing game.
Yeah, we could just say wacky shit, and if we can justify it, it's valid.
Exactly. We want to start off
Oh,
at 12 now?
yeah, speaking of wacky shit, I actually don't think my 12th is wacky shit. It was between him and someone else for 12, and it was the other person until about 20 minutes ago. But I have Jalen at 12th.
Oh, damn.
If you have the same thing, I would say that, but based on your reaction, I don't think you do.
I don't, but I will say he is in the bottom half. So you will see
Yeah,
him like in like uh 10 to 30 minutes.
yeah, so I'll talk about why I have him this low. So, he started the game out bad. Like, bad, bad. His start of the game was not good, and he thought it was so good. That doesn't matter much now, but pretty much the entire game, besides the forced swap, he has been towards the bottom of the game, thinks he's in a good position socially, and just isn't. Like, his social game isn't bad, but people just aren't connecting to him as much as they are to most people above him. And the Dice idol has also put such a big target on his back. People have been wanting to flush it for a while. People are concerned that he's going to use it to take out Phil, so they're trying to strike at Jalen before he can take out Phil, even though it's a 1 in 6 votes negated thing. It's weird, but I just don't think Jalen really has the connections. I believe there was already a placeholder vote on his name as we speak. That
What?
might change. I think Phil has a vote on Jalen right now.
Phil and Jalen have like some sort of oh yeah, I see. Phil and Jalen have like some sort of rivalry. It's not like a rivalry, but I know Jalen has Phil at like lowest trusted, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on there. Because I think they have like some sort of miscommunication, or they just don't trust each other.
Yeah, I don't. It's weird. I can't explain it. They just don't trust each other at all. But
Who knows?
it was between Jalen and my number 11. Funny how that works. But I decided to put Jalen here instead of 11th because I think the other person at least has a couple connections who would fight for him. Because that other person, who is pretty obvious who they are, I think, and I'm gonna make it more
I'm
obvious,
trying to figure it out. I
they
think
have
I
a
know.
couple very obvious connections, and also they are a very obvious connection to Jalen and have been since the very start of the game.
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
Oh
It is. It is my
yeah.
number eight. My
So
number eight.
so that person, I moved him up because he has put in some good work with other people, which I will talk about not now, even though I kind of already did. But I think in terms of Jalen thoughts, I also just don't think this is a jury that would vote for him to win, per se. I think a lot of them just don't vibe with the way he talks. I think multiple
Oh,
people have called him like an old man or something.
part of
Which
that
is
comes from like the profile picture.
yeah,
Like
yeah, that
you kind
yeah.
of put your like energy and your personality into your profile picture, and then it also is he's way of like speaking, if it is still the same as
Hmm.
it was 4 years ago, is like kind of paragraphic. It's a lot more
Yeah.
formal, which I think is like it's kind of refreshing when you have this sort of maybe like what's it called, like 20 conversations like replying to each other and all the little messages that can get like tedious. So it
Hmm.
is refreshing when you get that different thing, but it's like sometimes the cost just doesn't like gel.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I also think from a now I'm talking about Edgic because I can only go so long without mentioning it.
I mentioned it, but no, you mentioned it before me, but I kind of
And,
talked about it
yeah,
more
I
before.
basically said, that shit doesn't matter. And it doesn't for analysis. But this is my chance to say Jalen's Edgic is weird this season. Typically, by this point, he would have a couple of middle of the roads. He doesn't have any. It's all complex from episode 1 to 10. And knowing Jalen, based on his first 2 seasons, at least 6 of those should be positive. But they're not. Jalen has had 5 mixed episodes and 2 negatives. It doesn't really matter for this discussion. I just thought I should mention it because it's funny. How did that happen? I
I
just don't. It's Jalen.
I
How is
think it
he?
has some importance. Because I think it sort of reflects on like Jalen was doing very well in the first 2 seasons. Obviously, it's hard to say in Luigi's because he was booted right at the
I
start
mean,
of the merge.
if you look at contenders for Luigi's Mansion, number one, I'll just list number one for all the episodes until
No,
he comes
no,
out.
no!
North,
Please, that's too much
North,
scars for
Jalen,
me.
Jalen, North, North, Jalen, Jalen. So there's 8 episodes before the merge. 4 of them, Jalen's at one, and 4 of them, North is at one. So
Yeah,
Jalen was on top, and then the merge happened, and he wasn't on top.
and then in Olympus, I think he had a good shot. Like he was just a very like likable kind of guy. That just
Hmm.
got unfortunate by the rocks.
Yeah, I mean, 2-time hero of the season. He's not getting it this time, and
Yeah, the,
he's not a villain at all. He's just not as connected as other people.
it's just a different kind of cost.
Yeah. Okay. I think you get into your number 12 now.
Okay, my number 12 is I considered moving them up, but I think I'm just gonna put them low here. Just from like one underdog to who I see as the season's current underdog. I have Jonah at 12.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I
Ooh. Ooh.
I think it could very much be wrong. But I don't know. I just don't think like he's had such an underdog pre-merge that I don't know if he has the ability to reach the end and get the vote. Like he just isn't giving that sort of energy.
See,
I don't know how to explain it.
I think he could. I'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I think like I considered it because as I was talking, I remembered, oh yeah, Jonah has a connection with Philium, which could help. But I think it was just like I think like my thoughts are just stuck on from like last round in the fact of like how he was being saved, but I don't feel like it was
I am Ferdinand von Ayer.
Ferdinand.
I forgot about that. But I forgot about sound bites. What does the objection one do?
Objection!
Who added that?
I think that was me.
Oh, that's awesome.
I have
What,
it on my computer.
what's this one?
I am Ferdinand von Ayer.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Oh,
Ferdinand. Yeah, it's just those two.
that's
But
awesome. I'm a big fan.
I just don't know. I think it's just hard because I feel like Jonah is somebody that doesn't necessarily have people full fighting for him, so he could very much be an early boot or like a middle of the game sort of boot. I just don't think he has the ability to like have strong allies. Maybe Philium could be that. I think again it's hard because I say again, but I haven't mentioned it, but cabins are now gonna play into this a bit more because like you say, you have like Zach and Paintbrush per se, who seems like close cabin mates. Philium and Jonah seem like close cabin mates. You haven't been able to properly see that yet due to the fact of like trust rankings maybe weren't connected with the cabin system, so you don't fully see it yet, and you'll see it now. Um, but I just don't think he has the strength and longevity pull to like maybe hit the end. And I think if he was to maybe get the end, I just don't think he would have like maybe the underdog story to hold it through unless he's like at final trouble with the two right people. Like I don't know. I'm just like looking at this class. You have a lot of Goliaths that I feel like if any of
I
them
was
are
one of
next to
those.
Jonah.
I was one of those. I was one. I should not have been. I'm still mad about that.
Too bad you're a Goliath.
No,
But it's
dude, do you hear me? My ass is not a Goliath.
you are a Goliath. You have a chainsaw. That's terrifying.
Dude, okay. This okay, I'm gonna go on a tangent. This is so fucked up. I was looking at shoes today, right? And I believe I'm a size 6 in adults, which doesn't sound that bad. You know, it's adult shoes. Like, okay, that's cool. So I find a shoe that I like. It's all black because I don't care what I wear. It's just an all black shoe. And I pick it up, I try it on, I say, that's cool, and then I put it away. I put it back on the shelf. And then my short ass did not notice the sign. But I look up and it says what shoes these are for, and it says, oh, these are for grade school rolls. So I guess I guess my shoes are the size of a fifth grader. So
Are you smarter than a fifth grader?
I like to think I am.
Yeah, sorry. I gotta admit, you said like 6, and I was like, there's some sort of like joke coming at the end of this because the slippers that I have on right now are like size 12. Um,
Oh shit!
it might be different because country wise, I know that's definitely like there are like different
No, dude,
size systems, but it's also my feet are just also like big. Um,
no.
like with
Okay,
other like mates of mine probably maybe have like smaller feet. I just have big feet. So that's also why.
so I had my graduation a couple months ago, and I had to get dress shoes, and my feet are too small for them to make dress shoes. So I had to get like super special made kids ones. They were specifically from the kids department. It was the only kids dress shoes they had, and they were not comfy. I had to walk in that shit, and it was bad. I had to go to the special shoe store that I've never heard of in my life to get dress shoes that are meant for like a third grader, because it was the only thing that would fit me. And then I had feet pain for the next day.
Did you burn the shoes?
Um, I don't know where they are. I mean, I didn't burn them, but I don't know what did I do with those?
I would say I would steal them, but they wouldn't fit me.
Yeah, I don't know what you would do with those things.
It reminds me of like we're going off topic now, but just like a quick little story I've seen of like so there's this actor called Stephen Merchant. He was on the original UK Office. He's in stuff like Jojo Rabbit. I think he directed a movie called Fighting with My Family. Um, he's a tall guy, and he told this story about how like because he's tall, he needs like bigger clothes and stuff. and like they're not like the default sort of size you can get like at the store. So he has to go to like a special company that specifically makes like clothes for tall people, and they're like, he's like, this is like our only place for these clothes, so they can name themselves whatever they want. And so he then ends the joke with getting somebody to read like the label of his shirt,
Oh no.
to read what it is out, and they say the words, it's too tall, to the number two, tall. And it's just saying, if you shop here, you're too tall. It's like, wow.
Dude,
Okay.
I don't have that issue.
Uh, yours is just too short.
Dude, I mean, I just said I shop in the kids shoe department, but like I still get kids clothes sometimes.
That's so good though, low key. Like I feel like why are we off topic? And I feel
No,
like clothes stores are kind of broken, cause
don't even tell me about the meta with clothes stores is so fucked up.
it's like different gendered sections, maybe like there are like cool things in different areas. Like I don't think
Oh
I
my
commonly
god!
find
Oh,
pink shirts in
I'm
like the
gonna DM.
male section.
I'm sorry, I just got excited about something. I'm gonna DM you a picture, and you're gonna put it on the video, okay?
Okay, I will. But
So
like,
I was okay. I love these so much. They mean so much. So I was at Target one day, and I walked past the women's section, as I do, and I find these awesome socks. They are the coolest socks I've ever saw in my life. $1.50. I bought them, and I don't think I've ever seen better socks in my life.
yo,
I
holy shit!
and not only do they have funny hedgehogs on them, but they fit me. So,
These socks are so fucking good, man.
and I love this pair of socks so much that one day I went back to Target to get another one,
Yes.
and they did not have it.
Ah, I never got those like kind of like special printed socks.
Dude, these
Until
are
like
so
maybe
comfy.
recently. Like end of last year, I saw like Slowpoke socks in like the Australian version of GameStop. And I was like, I need to buy these. Because my favorite Pokemon's Galarian Slowbro, but they make like no marketing like toys or like branding for
Yeah.
it. So like the next best thing is like Slowpoke stuff. And so I went and grabbed that. I got like Marvel socks because they were cheap. Um, but like I just see people with all those special like kind of socks. I'm like, damn, that must be the life.
Yeah,
Uh,
dude,
I feel
when
like
Jonah,
yes,
Jonah's
back to
gonna
Jonah.
Jonah is gonna listen to this and just like, we're gonna tell him, oh yeah, we talk about you for the first time about 18 minutes in, and he's gonna come on here, and I'm gonna be sitting here talking about how I am 5'2" with my uh grade school shoes, and you're talking about some giant who has too tall branded foes,
Steven
and my
Merchant is amazing.
yeah,
Dude,
I got my hedgehog socks.
I got my
The
Steven Merchant.
Oh my god, what if for the thumbnail we put the hedgehog socks? We get like a full body picture of my character, and we put the socks. That might be hard actually.
That's we'll figure it out with the graphics. This is all like post production. Who knows? I I don't know if I have much else on Jonah. We can probably go back to Jonah when
Yeah,
you
I'll
talk
talk
about him
about
in the
him.
list. My theory is that you have him maybe in the middle or the top half. I'll find out then. But next we move on to number 11. Part of my thought though is I think we maybe just both say our number 11. You go first, then me, just for the purpose of like my post production ease. So it just has both like both people up there, instead of like showing like one at a time thing, and then you have like the same, it just has them both like up there with like the number 11 for both, and then like you talk about yours, I talk
Yeah,
about mine, so
I
we just
I, I
do
think that's a
that.
good idea.
Yeah.
Can you start for this one?
Okay. So my number 11 is Beaker.
I'm sorry, who did you say?
Beaker?
Okay, yeah. You'll see why I'm laughing. But yeah, that's a valid. I agree with that. I don't actually agree with that. I picked Tuckle.
Yes. Okay, I was right about that. Wait, who talks first?
You talk first. I'm trying to do something
Okay.
funny.
Yeah. I'm gonna stall for Cooper. I just have Beaker at 11. Just because I don't know. I think it is just a hard thing of like he and Minnie are like attached to the hip. They've gone to a lot of tribals, but I haven't really seen success out of it. Like at the end of the day, I still feel like those two are just closest to each other, and that's that. But like I don't see who their other strong connections are, or who his other strong connections are. Me, I like had a season that was very shit. I went to like the most tribals pre-merge out of anyone, and I came into merge with like four really close allies. Um, and like I got three of them into the final five. Obviously that's a giant gap from the start of merge to the end, so like stuff like changed and stuff. But it's still that thing of like I had like these very close people with me. And even though I'd gone to a lot of tribals and lost a lot of people, I was able to still like really get the forged connections and stuff. And I just don't feel like those two got that. I think part of that just comes to they just constantly were flipping on a lot of people. Like they kind of like flipped on Beth and Azarius. That's
Mhm.
even the issue is I'm talking about them as a we. I think those two both acknowledge that they need to separate like themselves from each other in some way. Um, but I think even then it's just happening with us of like it's being a pair, and I don't know how you fully differentiate it fully yet.
I
But
think they should not have like don't oversell it, but I think
yeah.
it would be good if they have some sort of not public, but some disagreement over who to target here. And it doesn't even need to be a real disagreement, just something to um set themselves apart from each other. Cause this point, people have started to call them the Mario Brothers, which is very
I
funny.
love that.
I think that's very awesome, and I want them to stay the Mario Brothers for as long as possible, just so we keep that, because that is so funny. But
But what works with the Mario Brothers is they're differentiated. Luigi is Luigi and Mario is Mario, and I think
okay, but
I
who is Mario here, and who is Luigi?
um I think Beaker just because of like I mean I think just based on like Beaker seems like a tall Muppet, so I feel like Beaker would be Luigi.
I, I that's what I was doing a minute ago, is I was trying to figure out. But
Loud
yeah,
incorrect buzzer.
yeah. So no, I think Minnie is Mario. He's just a lot more strategically engaged right now, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Minnie is Mario.
Wait, what? I thought you
I
said
said
Beagle.
Beaker is Luigi because Beaker is like a tall Muppet.
Oh, okay, that is a loud correct buzzer.
You don't have that set up. I see. You just prepared for my failure.
Well, shit.
But that's why I agree, and I have like Beaker, lower than Mini in my ranking. But I think it's a hard thing to figure out how to separate them. I think it's kind of a moment where you just sort of they're just sort of gonna like maybe disagree with each other in a random chance, and then from that they need to be like, okay, we disagree with each other. We need to be fine with this and like do their different things. Like separate yourselves per se. Um, But it's hard to say. I think in the end, one of them will like maybe get booted, and then the other will be playing for themselves now, and you'll sort of like see how that goes.
I think it's very possible one of them gets like 10th or 9th, and then the other is like a third placer.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could see like one of them reaching Final Travel Council. Um, like could actually do really well. In all honesty, I think it just is just a simple factor of they're a duo. That is immediately just a duo that is struggle to separate, and they flipped on a lot of people, so it's hard to fully tell where they stand with anyone. So one will get booted. And I think after
Yeah.
that, people will be like, okay, we've booted one of them. Let's just like continue like focusing on something else.
See, it's weird because I think the one that's more likely to be booted first is Beaker. But if Beaker lives over Mini, I think Beaker's a lot more likely to make it to the end. But
I
Mini
can see
has
that.
more win equity.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm wondering, do we know if Craig picks up the sounds?
Um, we'll
If
figure
he
that
didn't,
out.
I would be so sad.
The simple thing is like they'll like maybe be put in if not, but it's like coming from your mic. So I think it should. Either way, in post production, I'll just like tell you if he doesn't, and you can just send me like the clips for that, and I can add them
Yeah, I
in there,
looked up.
so no one will know.
Yeah, oh, we just told them. Shit. Okay, I should talk about Tuckle now.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay, fine. Doesn't Tuckle sound like such a? Doesn't that sound like such a dog name?
Um,
I feel like that's a dog
maybe
name.
it kind of gives like
Anyway,
dog, but I think it needs to be a specific dog.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. So, Tuckle is my number 11. He was 12 a bit ago, because he has just fallen off so bad recently. But he has recovered a bit. He has, honestly, out of nowhere, a fairly solid connection with Jenny. Jenny has a decent amount of trust in him. I believe Jenny has Tucker as her fourth most trusted, which is insane. So that's a good thing. But besides that, a good handful of people want to target Tucker. Um, I know Poker wants Tucker or High Space out, and High Space has immunity. I'm pretty sure Beaker wants Tucker out. I would assume Minnie would follow that as well. Badger as well has spent a good chunk of the season wanting Tucker out. So I think Tucker, on paper, makes a lot of sense to go here. But I do have Jalen under Tucker just because I feel people want to flush that dice idol. And also, I do have a bit more confidence in Tucker to be able to strategically position himself if he gets out of these few rounds at the start that look super bad for him.
Yeah, I
But
very much agree with a lot of that.
his game this season, his overall presence, his confessionals, is such a weird 50-50 split between the two different Tuckers we've seen. You've got the frankly super negative Club Penguin Tucker, and then the positive slanted Olympus Tucker. And it's weird to see a blend between the two of them. I would say him this season definitely leans negative, but he does have that strategic savviness that he had in Olympus that I don't think we saw in Club Penguin. Um, yeah, I'm curious to see how Tucker does. I think right now, if he makes it a couple more rounds, he's even if he doesn't, frankly, he's pretty locked in to be the villain of the season.
Yeah, I very much see that scenario happening. And I very much agree with a lot of the Tucker thoughts. And like, I think it's interesting because I wasn't here for Club Penguin, so I saw this Tucker that was like very much just socially savvy and doing pretty well, and I think like won in the end due to a good social game in here. Like you sort of see a bit of it. You do see a bit of both because you see that thing of like he's good with a few people. One thing I noticed, I think Minnie and Tucker like were having a good conversation maybe a day ago or something. Is and it's interesting coming like from that of like Tucker also started meeting a lot of Minnie's tribe from like Fox being very polarizing, and so it's like Tucker's picked up pretty well in some sense, but it's like it feels like you're either gonna have a good standing with Tucker or a bad standing with Tucker, which would be interesting to see more of that. I'd maybe put more of my thoughts when I eventually reach
Yeah,
my Tucker.
I I have two things I want to address for Tuckle. The first of which does not matter. It's more edgic shit. But just to like point out how negative his edit was in Club Penguin, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 negative tones. And compare that to Brian, who was a 2-time villain of the season, one of the most iconic villains. He only had 5 negative episodes, and he lasted 4 more episodes than Tuckle. So I think putting that into perspective kind of shows just how much of a villain Tuckle was in his first season. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about is that I don't think it happens this round per se, but I do think Zach and Hai. It's hard to say which one more so sees the utility, but I think at least one of them is going to see the utility in taking out one of the people in that trio so they're not marked as people who need to be cut soon because of how close they are.
Yeah, because they are like a trio. I forgot about
Hmm.
that. I forgot because they also there was also the what are they called, the cabin trio, which definitely was in a trio. Would have been interesting to see them all together.
Are you
But
talking Moo, Hai,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that would have been
Uh,
so that would have been so funny.
yeah. Even then, Tucker was in some danger in the second swap, I think, but immunity kept them safe, so they
He
didn't have
was in
to deal with
some
that.
danger at the original tribes too. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
there was 2 obvious boots ahead of him in Ocean and Outlaw, but after that, Tucker was on the bottom.
yeah, yeah. And like a move was possibly going to be made against Jalen or Tucker, to
Hmm.
maybe save Outlaw. Like that's who would have gone if Outlaw had stayed.
Hmm.
But we want to jump to 10?
Yeah, so we've been going for 33 minutes, and so far we have talked about hedgehog socks, small feet, tall men, and we've only gotten 2 people into the list for each of us. So, to speed things up a bit, even though that's not, I don't care if we go for 27 hours. That's not, but I'm not saying we need to speed up. This is just me segueing into someone we've already talked about. My 10 is Beagle. Um,
Speaker.
I
My
have a bunch.
10. Wait, I want to get my 10 just for graphics
Yeah,
sake
you
for me.
go, you go.
My 10 is Mini.
Okay, yeah, that
Mini
makes
and
sense.
Beaker.
I'll talk first. I think a lot of what you said about Beagle, I agree with. So, loud, correct buzzer. Um,
Yay.
yay! Um, why did I say it like that? Um, dude, my energy is so much higher in this podcast.
My energy is just energy.
Yeah.
But yes,
Uh,
Beaker. Let's
Beagle,
keep ourselves on
yeah,
track.
yeah, yeah. So, that guy. I agree with most of what you said about him. I do think I could see. I honestly think he's one of the most likely people to be a GOAT. And I don't want to say GOAT because he has had a lot of power in this game with all the flipping. but I feel like a third place just kind of makes sense for him right now. I think he's been mentioned as unreliable, a fripple, just someone. He has agency, and yet he's been the very bottom on the power rankings twice for me. I mean, he's done so much flipping, as I have said twice already in the past 100 words or something. So I don't need to reiterate it, but I just did again. Um, I am awesome at this. But no, I just think Beagle, he's respected and not like his. Do you see what I mean? Well, I feel like he could end up as a losing finalist.
Yeah. I think it's always hard to like say that, see it early. I think it's unfortunate to maybe like even just say I don't think this person is gonna win. Like say it right now, because that is like just such an unfortunate thing to like hear per se. But it does make sense. I think I can see the goat thing. I think goat necessarily doesn't automatically mean they're gonna play like a bad game even then, because
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
I
you can
think the
still play
goat
a good
label.
game. There's like different kinds of goats. You have like Russell Hance is a
Yeah.
goat, and he played like a very powerful strategical game.
Hmm.
It's just a person that it's I would just say maybe it's just like a person with a flaw in their game that will just
Hmm.
hold them back from winning. Um, but it's
Yeah.
also hard because it's like the merge hasn't properly started yet. I feel like it doesn't start until
Hmm.
one, at least you do one vote, and two, even then I would say like a few votes in, um like 1 or 2 votes in is when it like you're like this is like the tribe, you are familiar with everyone a bit more now. And so you have a better familiar standing. Like we have no fully idea what is going to happen this travel. No way how people are going to interact. Like it's still not set in stone yet that you truly are just judging from like the pre-merge stuff. So like even then, yeah, on the Beaker standing, it's like this is just what we're taking from the pre-merge of just like Beaker went to a lot of tribals, flipped on a lot of people, had a strong duo with Minnie, but has not maybe seemed to pick up any like truly other lifelong allies, which is like
Yeah.
going to be something we just see is going to be a struggle if something doesn't necessarily shift at the start of this merge.
He has put in good work, getting Palko to want to keep him more, which is good because Palko has so much power around him, and I think that could allow Beagle to maybe be one of the people to take the shot at Palko, which I think would see. When I called Beagle a goat, I instantly regretted it because I think Beagle
You mean
actually
like
is playing.
capitalized GOAT, right? Like greatest of all time.
Yeah, I think a good comparison for him. Okay, this might be a whack comparison, but hear me out. Survival 42, Mike.
Oh, we have different thoughts on Mike.
What are your thoughts on Mike? Is that he never would have won, right?
Yeah, my thoughts were he fell into the good. He like it was this thing where he played a good game, but it was this thing of like that wasn't the game he thought he was playing, and so he sort of fell backwards into a winning game. And the simple thing was he came into Final Tribal Council telling people what his game was because that was what he thought he was playing and how he was trying to play and saying I was a loyal sort of player. But that was not the perception that the jury had, that they thought he was a snake. And they were fine if he admitted that, but because he always, in his mind, he never considered himself a snake and he never thought he was playing a snake and never intended on playing a snake, he was never going to do that. So he fell backwards into it. And so when people realized um, like what his game actually was, what their perception actually was per se, they then switched their votes to who they believe was the game that they wanted to vote for the most out of them, which ended up being Marianne.
Okay, I kind of agree with every single thing you just said there, and realized the Beagle comparison doesn't make much sense at all.
Is it
But
like Beaker can play a good game, but just like will get at FTC like just will get overshadowed by like the winner?
yeah, I think that's part of it. Like, I think Beagle's playing a good game. I just don't know if he's gonna articulate it right.
I think if you get either Mini or Beaker early on the jury, which is what we do think will happen, it'll help them because they'll have like a defender on the jury. Like they'll instantly have like one buddy there.
Hmm.
So I think like that's a good thing. Do we want to move to
Yeah,
my 10th mini?
that was an
Um,
awesome segue.
it's hard though because I again like for me I was talking about them as we's, so I don't know how to say like anything different. But you did say like you think Mini has more of a strategical head on his shoulders, which even then I also do agree. Like I mentioned, I saw a conversation of him and Tucker. I was like, oh, that's an interesting like kind of good conversation they seem to be having, and like yeah, I think Mini has something just has maybe a little bit of like more the strategic thought there. Mini Beaker maybe has like this more people sort of thing. Then Mini just comes. Beaker also is like good at comps, so Beaker could like do some comping out. But I don't know. Again, it's like I just gotta wait and see more how they unfold. I think I'd be like able to give more definedness of those two or whichever one is left when we do reach like say final 8.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Um, to the idea of Beagle comping out, I guess it's possible, but to do that, Badger, Phil, Zach, and Hai all need to go before that. And I think Jonah and Jalen are kind of on the same level as Beagle. Maybe Polko as well. So I don't see the comping out thing.
Yeah, the to see it'll be interesting to see how the comps do roll because you listing that it's like yeah we do actually have a few good comp people still in, um but I think that's my thoughts for now is just just because their game for the entire pre-match has been very much them as a duo, it is
Hmm.
too hard to see their individual games yet, as this is just the start of merge, so they haven't necessarily gotten be able to play that because that's like when it happens. When you hit the merge, that's when the individual game probably hits. Before then, it's just doing what you can to make the merge, and they've gone
Yeah.
and done that. Now it's just about trying to see where their perception is and seeing what they can do about that. So, do you want to move to number 9 now?
Yeah, I think I'll say mine first. I think you're either gonna agree with me or you're gonna have to use the buzzer, because this might be a bit controversial.
Okay, I have it ready.
But I actually have Badger at 9. Am I safe?
Yeah, I'm not gonna hit the buzzer.
Okay. Phew.
My 9 is Jalen.
Okay, so a bit higher than I had him.
Yeah, but it's a lot of similar points. Who do you want to talk about first?
I'll do Badger first because I do want to mention that I kind of have my list in tiers. The first tier was Jalen and Tucker. And then this next tier was Beagle, Badger, and someone else who you can predict pretty easily, I think. Um
There's no other B names. I don't know who it is.
uh no. Um well, a B kind of looks like an 8, right? So then it could be an 8th placer, but we don't have any 8th placers actually.
I thought it was gonna be someone that I've already listed. Was my thought.
Okay, anyway, so Badger, I think, see, I always underestimate Badger. I did that. See, the thing with me and Badger is I always underestimate Badger, and then at the end game realize, oh shit, I underestimated Badger, and then overestimate Badger. So we'll see if that happens for the third time. But I just think Badger has a good strategic head on his shoulders. He had. I just don't think he has the connections right now. He can play a good free agent game, but there's just things tying him down. I think him wanting to get Tucker out may not be the best thing. Um, but on the flip side, Badger has put in good work with the likes of Philium this round. I think he might have also connected decently with Poco. Like Badger has played this well, and I'm almost. I think you could justify me swapping him and my next person, but I don't know. I just feel like Badger makes sense to be an early merge boot, and if not, I could just see another, unfortunately, another second place in the pipeline. Maybe a third place even, if it is a final three, which, like, I mean, come on.
It could be a Final Four.
You know, I would not hate that because it would save me.
No, but I mean that's like the thing with like fire making. They now just make Final Five, like the Final Four kind of vote.
Yeah, what do you think of Badger? Because I know
I feel
tend
like
to be.
I want to wait till later to say my thoughts,
Okay,
just so I don't repeat myself.
yeah, I feel like you tend to be higher on Badger and the type of game Badger plays than I am.
Yeah, I do. I did massively enjoy Badger's end game run in Olympus. I thought it was pretty well. That stretch of like
Badger's
final seven,
endgame is
so good.
near perfect
Besides,
if he didn't take Tucker to the end.
yeah, which you
But
can't
I
fully
think,
blame. It's a hard decision.
yeah, I think Badger's pre-merge is just so scuffed in that season. I don't know. I'm just not as high on Badger as some other people are. I
Yeah,
still
the
think
pretty much of that season. I don't remember, to be
Badger
honest.
has. Okay, I'm gonna pull up a throwback. I'm gonna bring out the watch stock.
Oh my god. Oh yes, I remember that. My
Okay,
my brain in that
so in
season.
episodes 1 to 3, you gave him a 5.
Yeah, yeah,
4 to 6, a 5. That checks out. And
yeah.
then episode 7 to 9, you gave him a 3.
Oh yeah. I think that was because the 7 to 9 was like the second swap tribe, and like that tribe was like a fucking mess.
Yeah, I mean, you gave Nate a 10, and he got 15th.
I
So
love Nate. Yeah, yeah, that was me being massively biased.
yeah, and then at the merge, I mean 6, 7, 9 for the last 3 ratings for him.
Six,
I
yeah,
think
then like it picked up.
I think Badger probably has like maybe the fourth or probably the fourth best game that season. I would say Tucker, Brian, Jalen. This is in no specific order, but I think Tucker, Brian, Jalen, maybe Danny, all played better games than him. But that's just my take.
My take would differ. But I will move on to talking about my ninth of Jalen. It's again just that thing of he just had like a rough game this season. I think it's just that simple thing of just he didn't fall into that sort of charming, likable ally sort of Jalen this season. Sort of seemed like a very heavy, sort of rough game bot this time round, which is like I think it's just it is what it is. Sometimes like you just play different games, different casts, and you just see like the Jalen in those seasons before did pretty well. The Jalen here, he's not doing the best. Um, it'll be
Okay,
interesting to see how the dice battle goes. Shoot.
okay, so I am actually in real life raising my hand to speak. I don't know why I'm doing that,
I love
but
doing that.
I feel like Jalen's game is like what people expect high space to be.
I can see that. I do
I
sort of see similarities.
I think the way Jalen converses is what people expect from High Space. I think just the game bodiness in a sense.
Yeah.
I don't have too much more to say that I haven't said already. Um, Jalen just said in his confessional that he thinks it's going to be Beagle going home. So that should be interesting.
I mean, yeah, that can make sense. This vote could very much simply just be a person that was on the bottom. I think a lot of the people
Mhm.
at the top are like a lot of people in power are all like good with each other. There was an alliance made during the recording of our last podcast that does have a lot of the people in the power. So it's like this thing of like I don't think any of them are gonna go after each other. It's like the instance of like Jalen being the boot in Luigi's Mansion. For the first merge of like you mentioned it was like Nerf and him were the top contenders, and Nerf took his shot at Jalen straight away. Here, I
Mhm.
just think all those top contenders per se just like got to link up at the start of this, and it just waits for something big to happen. But for now, it's just going to be like maybe a bottom picking. So these sort of like people that are like lower in the pre-merge are going to stay lower here and just wait. But like I've happy to have Jalen back, and it's honestly been interesting to see this different kind of player from Jalen.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
because
I think
like it's just interesting to see like I don't know because normally I like when I put my predictions of cast at the start of the season I'd be like I think this is how this person's gonna do because of, like a lot of past games and stuff, and to see Jalen like be completely different, like I thought Jalen was gonna go like really far and be like this likable guy again. He has a very different effect this season, which is honestly very intriguing to see that
yeah,
switch
no,
up.
I think this season, I mean, if he goes out tomorrow, I wouldn't rate him this highly, but I think this could be the best iteration of Jalen we have seen character-wise.
Honestly, I have no thoughts on that. I have no thoughts on the character wise. I'm not gonna
Okay, okay,
start getting my
okay.
thoughts on the character wise again. Or not today.
Yeah, I think I would probably say if Jalen makes like final eight, this is probably his best character. But I think if he goes like tomorrow, he would be better than Luigi's Mansion, but worse than Olympus. Okay.
Again, I have no thoughts on the characters.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on to my eighth, if
Eight.
you are.
I'm gonna go first and say my eighth is Tucker.
Okay, that is high.
Yeah, you
Which
you
is
say you're
a
eight.
perfect segue to say that my number
Oh my
eight,
god!
it's not high space.
Oh, you
It's the small guy. It's Mini.
Uh, um, I think we've already talked about both of them. So we can start at either or, but I'm gonna jump in and push for Tucker.
Yeah,
To be
you go.
I think I just think it's the thing of like you mentioned of being like, yeah, Tucker has some good relationships with some people that I think could do well. It is just that hard thing of like the the negative bonds with some people. Um, I think like it'd be I have not looked at anything much because I've been busy since the merge started. But it'll be interesting. Like I want to look at Badger and Tucker's relationship because that's been something that has been building up, and it's been
Hmm.
building up in more like a negative way. Not that
Yeah.
it's negatively evil or bad. It was just like it seems more like a rivalry than a partnership.
Yeah,
And
and I think Badger sees it as a rivalry, and Tucker sees it as a partnership.
Tucker is just fucking around.
Yeah, Tucker. What is he doing?
It's the bad kind of fuck around where like you're pushing people's buttons, but you're having a laugh at it, but they're
Yeah,
not.
he's having a good
One-sided
time.
humor. It's one-sided humor, and that is a dangerous thing to have.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think Tucker. Yeah, I don't know. I think Tucker just has like a rough road with like that polarization that makes it hard. But it's also like I just have him high up though still because I do think he does have some good social chip on his shoulder, and they do have some likability with people. It just purely comes to, I feel like I would say it a lot. It comes to like the few like rounds coming up to see what happens.
Yeah, and I
Honestly,
get that.
but I don't know. I don't see Tucker winning. I just see like if something did switch up, then I'd be like, yeah, I can see it. But it's the polarization from people has made it like a very quick sort of lock in to be like, no. But it's also like people that have it like had negative people very quickly and like on it still can win because at the end of the day, at the end it's like you can still have people like in the jury that aren't your fans. In the end, you just need to get the
Hmm.
most votes.
Yeah,
So not get all the votes.
okay. Can I go on to the tiny guy now?
Yeah.
Okay, so Minnie is the final person who isn't like a contender for me. I guess maybe my seventh isn't a contender, but Minnie is the closest thing to being a contender that isn't a contender. I don't know why I didn't just say that from the start. Um, I think Minnie honestly is so underrated strategically. I think Minnie either is gonna get ninth or 10th, like we said earlier. It'd be him or Beagle in that point. Or he's gonna become like someone who builds up a, a sort of coalition around him to take out a big threat, and he's gonna succeed. And then at like final 5 or 6, people are gonna realize, wait a second, this guy might win. And then they shoot him with a gun. So
Murder the
yeah,
revolutionist.
that's what I think is gonna happen to Minnie.
I could see that. That'd be fun.
It would be fun because that is kind of what happened to him in the, you know, that season.
Duloc?
Yeah, that one.
Duloc moment! Fucking
Fucking
love
hate that
Duloc.
season. I fucking hate
Um,
that season.
we could make a really smooth segue if you want to move to number 7.
Number 7. Who do you
Because
have?
my number 7 is a Duloc moment in Philium.
My number 7 is High Space.
No.
Yeah.
Who do we want to talk about first?
I'll ask the bot.
Okay. Which
The bot
channel?
says High Space.
What bot? What bot?
The one I always use.
Where'd you use it?
The log.
Oh yeah, okay. The fucking I tried to search it because I thought it was Carbot, but I couldn't find it when I searched. But
Okay,
yeah,
so
I see high. Go.
we're talking about High Space. Well, I'm talking about High Space. He's my number 7, the last person in the bottom half of the ranking. I think High. The issue is right now that his name has been mentioned as someone to target and get out soon. I think Tucker goes out before him because when High Space's name is thrown out, it's as let's get him or Tucker out. And since High has immunity and is a bit better positioned than Tucker, I think it is Tucker that goes first. But I just think High has this big threat level of being good at comps, known as a great strategic player, and I just worry that he will be able to play this free agent game that he has talked about pretty well for a bit, but at a certain point, I think it'll just catch up to him and it'll be obvious that he doesn't really have any true allegiances and he'll get cut before he can pull too much off. And I do think he will probably play that idol correctly, but as soon as he does, I don't really think people are going to let him get much farther.
Yeah, I
I
can very much
also
feel that.
I also think that this might not be a cast that would vote for him to win. I just think he like I don't know if I would see High Space winning a joy vote against someone like Paintbrush or Jenny or Poker or Philium or Zach or maybe even Jonah. Maybe not Jonah, actually.
High Space versus Jonah would be an interesting battle.
I would vote for High Space.
I would vote for myself.
Secret third option.
Oh
Mini.
yes.
I
No,
would
I
vote
hate
for High Space.
Australia.
Yeah, I'm voting high.
Yeah, I'm a high supporter. But that's still like that would I think it would just come down to like how their games end up playing in the season.
Okay, this reminds me. Let me say this now before I forget. I want to do something before the finale where we go through. I might be doing this alone because I don't think anyone else sees this concept as a good idea. Where we go through every final tribal combination, which I think there would be 10 or something, where we just maybe we don't rank them, but we go through each of them and say who we think would win them, and maybe just throw in who we would vote to, because I think that would be an interesting exercise to do going into the finale.
Oh, that'd be intriguing. We'd have to depend on like if we take 3 hours.
Yeah. We might.
Speaking of
All right.
3 hours, this is an awful segue, because 3 hours makes no linkage to Philium, who's my 7. My thing is I think Philium's someone that has like power, but it also can like there'll be moments where like their power just drips and disappears. And they're playing a sort of solo-ish game, so like I think they had like Rai was their number 1, and then they let Rai go. And sort of thing like that of like Philium doesn't have any other actual number 1s.
Well, yes, but no about the Rai thing. They were close early on, but by the swap, Phil had Rai at 5 and 6.
Yeah, but Rai
Interesting.
had Philium
Rai
as
had Phil at
number
1,
1.
yeah.
And Phil doesn't have like a mutual number 1 with somebody. Which is fine. I think I find myself in duos a lot, so I'm more used to like the duo shifting, and I think that's like helpful and powerful to have somebody who has your back. So to play a solo game can be hard, but it's also that thing of like I just think they're like a solo player that's doing really well up against like a lot of Goliaths who have like partners in the Goliath ship, so it's like this hard thing per se. Just I don't know. I just haven't seen a proper read on Philium yet in the season. That I could think like I think why I put Philium 7 is like everyone forward. I'm like I can very much see a win come from them. I think Philium could win, but I also could see them just as like the strong second placer up against the winner.
Yeah, I could see that. Sort of like a Austin in 45.
Yeah. I would say that sort of like that sort of thing, or like a
I think
Charlie
I
46.
think I think Phil I think Phil is someone who's a big enough threat where they would be high on like rankings to win the game from the jury, but not high enough where they'll be taken out over someone like High Space or Parker, who are just such obvious threats. I
Like
also
you
think
would think, sorry, like you would think the jury and the game's perspective of Philium would differ.
like the jury would have let's say it's final 8. The jury has Philium as the 4th favorite to win. Well, that's a pretty good spot to be in, because those 1, 2, and 3 are probably all going to get taken out by the end.
1, 2, and 3 is so dead. Rip them. Yeah, that's kind of what you love is to have the game have the wrong perspective of who's winning sometimes because
I
then they just don't go for the right person, and that right person slips by and wins.
I also think Jonah said at one point that he thinks Philium is playing the best game on the season. And I don't think Jonah's going to do anything about that for a long time.
Those two are very like they're close. Jonah probably as Philium as the number 1, but it's also I agree.
Yeah, I do see. Okay, I think Phil's Primoge has so many fucking terrible spots. I think Phil's Primoge kind of sucks for a bunch of it.
It's crazy to say, like, I think Phil is playing. I think Phil's playing the best under the radar game.
I don't even think it's under the radar. Like, it's under the
I don't know how
radar.
else to describe it, but it's like
It's
that thing of
under the radar in comparison to Parker.
yeah. It's that thing of like they're playing a good game, and just nobody except say Jonah is picking up on it or choosing to do much about it or consider it due to the fact of say there are like such more like people up in the face that are like very clear. Like it's just like the people at the top of our ranking, or the top of my ranking. It's like that thing of you say them and you're like, yeah, they're like playing a good game. They're at the top. It obviously makes sense, sort of thing. But like then there's Philium, who I think is playing well, and just everyone is just too focused on every other big person up there that they're like
Yeah.
not focused on Philium. So Philium, I think, plays with the right allies, socially does well, gets a good few moves in, can get that win. But I think it also does come to that thing of they need to get rid of a lot of competition.
I think Phil is very good at positioning themselves to make the end.
Mm.
Do we want to move on to 6?
I think we move on to 6. When that
Okay.
opportunity arrives of, do you want to move on to this like next one? I'm like, yeah.
Before we do 6, I do think we're probably gonna have the same top 4, unless you have high space in top 4.
I do not.
Okay, I think we have the same top 4.
I think we do have the same top 4. I'm trying to figure out. Oh yeah. Because I said, yeah, I figured out. Yeah, we do have the same top 4, but not the same top
Okay.
6 or 5. Because my number 6 is Badger.
That is high.
Who's your number 6?
My number 6 is your number 12. I have Jonah.
Jonah! I really kind of regret putting Jonah that low now.
My thoughts on Jonah are kind of similar to my thoughts on Phil, where they're both kind of middle of the road in terms of being a threat, where they have some win equity, but they're also not like Parker or Zach, who is so obviously the big threat. I think Jonah, if he can take out some of these bigger threats within the next few rounds, we could see him as a very viable winner contender. And I think he is set up very well to be in the spot to take out these big threats. He is kind of the forefront person to be the free agent who can just flip back and forth and take out these big dogs like Parker, which he has already talked about doing. I think either Jonah or Phil is going to be the one to do this, or they'll do it together. Either way, I think one of them is very likely to be the dark horse winner, who makes a big move at 6 and then like comps out or just positions themselves super well.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, like you speak more of it and I like agree. I think my hesitation on Jonah is just waiting to see how Jonah does at the start of this merge. And it's like it really just does come down to just waiting to see how Jonah works, because he is just entering this merge very roughly, which I think is why I put him low. Like the thing of like he survived that lost tribal, which like is a win. But still, it's that thing of I didn't feel like he fully gained anything out of it besides surviving, which is why he's low in that per se. But then like my 6 foot Badger is also maybe like a bias. It's an unknown. It's maybe a similar thing of like Badger and Jonah both came out of that tribal where I just felt like nothing major happened for them. They both survived, which is yay because they both could have died per se.
See, Badger at 6, I don't like agree with, but I can completely understand that. Like, it does make sense. You can give the same reasons for Badger at 6 that I give Jonah and Phil to be around this area.
Yeah, like Badger just has like a sort of magic that like you underestimate them, and then they're there sitting at Final Tribal Council being like, yeah, what's up, y'all? Like it is very much comes down to that simple thing of per se, Badger just needs to start the first few rounds off well and not get targeted per se. If Badger got targeted, I think it would be Curtains early on. But if not, he'd be able to maybe like get under there and then like really attack all the big threats when it comes to the end game. But I think the hardest thing is like I think it's just an interesting thing you see from like before, like it's maybe just a storyline with Badger. It's just Badger just went up like say went up against High Space. That's High Space in season 14 I think was just the biggest threat to win. So him reaching the final tribal council was just a rough battle. And then he came back in Olympus, nearly won, did pretty well, but I think it was that thing of just he was up against a social threat in that season as Taka, which is hard. And then it's again, I think I just see a similarity in me with Badger. And like I think Badger's social game is like the rough start. I think it was definitely hard to lose per se Nerf, who would be like someone that would really help Badger's standing per se. Could also be dangerous because they maybe would take a shot at Nerf and choose that shot to be Badger. But now Badger's kind of playing on his own. He's lost Ellie, but I think if Badger is able to pick up on the socialness, get like some good comps in, and do some strategic like moves as we've seen before in past seasons, and I think he very much could take this shot and win this season. But it's still just that thing of like it's still just hard because it's like we're just starting the merge. So a lot of our thoughts are
Yeah.
seen off their pre-merge, but like as you did state of talking about Badger, his pre-merges were always rough, and then he picks it up in the merge. So that me putting him at 6, it's been like I think he can pick it up in the merge.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair, honestly. Like, I don't share that opinion, as I said with putting him at 9th, but I think it is a completely justifiable position.
I think that's the magic of sort of seeing the switch arounds. It's like you can easily fit a lot of these people to the different criteria of different spots. And it's like you can literally just be saying the same sort of things.
Yeah.
But that's the fun part. That's why like I'm not gonna talk about that. But I think maybe we move to 5. Wait, I think I
Yeah.
know your 5th is William, right?
Yeah, and your 5th is High Space?
Yeah.
Yippee! Okay, we do have the same top 4.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll be in the same order.
I think maybe. I don't think so because I think our ideologies in the game are different.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But for now, we're gonna talk about our 5th. High space. I'm high space. Yeah, I'm a bit wary because I know there are people that want to take a shot at high space, and I think Parker wants to take a shot. This Final 12 immunity was definitely a good clutch to start off the merge, and I don't know. I haven't been seeing the high space magic that you maybe have seen before, but I think that's also this is literally the high space magic is that thing of like people maybe normally don't like overestimate him, they underestimate him, and then they just like let him play like far enough, and then he just flips a switch and it's like it's high space game time.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, because he's been doing well. He did get the cabin immunity, which was good. I do think you have like that thing of like it'd be an interesting world to see what would happen if like the Tucker high space Zach trio wasn't like a thing in the equation, because
Mhm.
that could be a difference because I think High Space was kind of the middle of Mario, like not like the middle as in the terminology of Survivor, but just like was in the middle of the rankings. Like maybe like not
Yeah, I
doing
think
the
that's fair.
best, not doing atrocious, and then I think it picked up when he got to that trio. Um, I think I don't know. It's hard to give much more thought because it's that thing of like I think High Space could be that sort of like a Moby Dick, like the big whale. That
Huh?
like I think High Space could be like a trophy somebody like
Okay, okay,
votes
I
off.
see, I see,
Yeah,
okay.
because do you know like Moby Dick?
I've heard the name.
Oh yeah, so Moby Dick is like so Ahab is a captain of a ship, and Moby Dick is this whale that I think he tries to kill.
Oh.
So when I refer to like him being like somebody's Moby Dick, I'm
So you're
referring to
saying
like somebody is
someone
gonna kill High Space and be like, yeah, I killed High Space.
yeah, so someone's gonna have, like, taxidermy of, like, a potato.
Is that what his profile picture is?
I think it is, right? It's a potato chef?
Um, I've never figured it out. I've never wondered.
I think it's a
Potato
potato.
chef. Let's see what happens when I Google potato chef.
Oh
Um,
god, okay.
oh yeah, I see it. Oh yeah, I see it now.
The potato chef is kinda dude, look up potato chef. There's some cool potatoes.
I know. I see. Like one's holding fries. That's a bit fucked up.
Oh shit, that is kinda fucked up.
Okay. We can move on to
Speaking
your
of
fifth.
fucked up, I have Phil at 5. I
What's that
don't know
fucked up?
I don't know what to say about Phil that I haven't said already. I feel like I've mentioned Phil so much. What else do I say? I, I
You just say what you said, Philium. Is a good. That's one thing is what the alliance that was made while we've been recording this stuff was I think Zach, Parker, Jenny, Philium,
yep. And
and like
Jonah is very adjacent.
yeah, and like I think that's like a good thing that Philium is in like because that's like the power alliance. That's
Yeah, for
a
sure.
powerful alliance, and Philium to be in there. I think it's just that simple thing of like Phil is just like not the poster child compared to all of them, but that's also because the rest of them have sort of all been like at the very tippity top of like tribes at different points. It's hard to argue maybe like for Parker and Jenny of that like maybe except for the first tribe just because they had Jenny had a rough uh swap. But she's like, that's been an interesting thing to see, but that's like a later thing. Um, and then Philly has just sort of been like that, sort of like this, like the vice president, which is a very powerful position per
The
se, because
VP?
yeah, because who's gonna who? There's no terminology like there's the game like protect the president. Or like because it's like people would target the president. Nobody's focused on the VP. Like powerful position to be in all honesty.
Yeah, you see American politics? Kamala Harris is she okay, I should not be saying this to the Australian.
We did it, Joe.
We did it, Joe.
That's all I know
We
about
did it,
her.
Joe. Okay,
Uh,
I think we owe the top 4 a congratulations for being the top 4. They
congratulations.
they did it, Joe.
Yeah, they
They did it,
did
Joe.
it. The top four of hold on, let me read it out in alphabetical order. A claps. Read it out in alphabetical order. We have Jenny, Paintbrush, Parker, and Zach.
Yeah.
So let's start with who's the number 4.
Okay, do we want to say at the same time?
Uh, sure. After one, do you want to say 3, 2, 1?
You say 3, 2, 1.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Parker.
Paint.
Oh.
Hmm.
Who do we talk about first?
Uh.
Are you Carl Budding?
No. I'm just saying. Okay.
Uh.
I made my list on random.org because I needed somewhere to list. That's just where I did it. So I'm gonna hit randomize and see who's up top. Okay, we're gonna do paint first.
Okay, shoot.
Okay, so paint. I think paint and parkour kind of go together in the sense that they are two very obvious targets. They also both have idols
Are
that
they
I
still a
believe
duo?
they are definitely still a duo. They
I have
are
no
each
other
other's
further
number
thoughts.
ones.
Yeah,
And
love duos.
they both have an idol that I believe the only other person who knows about said idol is each other. And I think they are very willing to play the idols on each other if need be.
I
I
love that.
think
I support that. Playing idols on other people.
I think coming into this merge, Paint's position is very similar to what it was in All Stars, which he won. And in All Stars, pretty much about half the cast said Paint is such an obvious social threat that we need to do something about now, or we're never going to be able to do anything about it again. And I was one of the people to say we need to do something, and it didn't work. And
Super. 10th place.
okay, well, it was because of Paint. It wasn't because of Paint that I
It was
got.
because of an all.
See, I was thinking about my winner ranking the other day. Because I'm going to do a video about that probably after this season. I don't think Paint is that high anymore when I think about it. Because, like, Paint goes home a lot of times. Paint goes home at Final 9 if Tabitha isn't ejected, and goes home at Final 4 if James doesn't basically quit. This doesn't matter, but I think Paint is a big threat to win while not being the biggest threat to win. I think Paint's probably the third biggest target. Okay, probably the second. But see, Paint's issue is that Paint might need to win comps, and Paint kind of sucks. Like Paint is ass. Like not just ass. Like Paint is ass at comps.
Oh no.
Like
With that, then he just needs to take out like the comp threats, which is hard when there's a lot of them. But
okay, but like if he takes out the comp, like he's gonna need to take out. Paint is like the worst person at comp seal.
you just need to take out everyone.
Yeah, like I mean, like the only other person.
Paintbrush literally won immunity at final at
Dude,
the double.
okay, but that's only because he knew who Kung Fu Panda was.
Yeah, that's true. So
Dude, when you said paintbrush, your mic peaked so loud it scared the shit out of me. You were just like
boo.
paintbrush,
Why did I say paintbrush?
paintbrush.
Paintbrush. Oh my god, I
Okay.
don't remember what I said the paintbrush part.
Talk about Palco now.
Yeah, yeah, Parker is just a player that he's always a very dominating player. I think well, he just did a Sequesters All Stars Slay Quester, which I helped host. He came 5th there.
Fifth. I'm so smart.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I read his confessional.
it just seems like a similar predicament where Parker is just like this giant threat that everyone knows about, and it's like they're not going to take a shot at him yet because he's part of it is maybe you don't know if you have the numbers. It's different in Sequester because the numbers are fucking weird every single round. But it's just that thing is he's also really good with like he's good and in with a lot of people, so like it's like they're not going to willingly take out a person high up in their trust rankings. But it's just like if you're like your top allies will plot against you, sort of thing. Like I think his struggle is he's good. He can be good with a lot of people, but those people will also be like very aware that they need to take him out. And it's like when it comes to that, I just think he is a sitting duck. And it is just like that's one of the hardest things is to reach the end. I said that in the cast assessment thing because it is hard. A lot of people are like you see them at the cast reveal and be like, oh yeah, they're probably like gonna do really well. And then they do really well and they don't win because it's that simple thing of their gameplay is able to be this gameplay that works at getting them to be in a winning position, but they just haven't conquered that struggle of like being able to get through the end game of getting into that end part. Which I just don't know if Parker can get through there. I think he's too much of a big threat that people will take the opportunity to go for him when that opportunity arises. And he has an idol which could save him, but like you gotta get like you gotta play the idol first of all. That's one of the harder things.
Yeah.
Um and like I think it's maybe it's because it's seen it happened before of him go home with the idol in his pocket. It's like it is possible for it to happen again. So it's like sort of unknown to see if that happens. I
I
think
think we go. Wait, finish your thought.
I don't know. I don't know my thoughts. My simple thing is just Parker. I think I just merged Parker and Tucker's names. Parker just is like playing really well, really strong, but just too well and too strong that I think he's just gonna be one of those people that is just taken out during the threat purge.
Okay. Is your number 3 paintbrush?
No.
Damn it!
It's
Shit.
different again. My number 3 is Jenny.
My number 3 is Polko, and that's why I didn't say too much when you talked about him. Because now I'm gonna talk about Polko. I think. Okay, so preseason he was my winner pick. He has been the Edgic pick for 9 out of 10 episodes. I didn't even need to look at the chart. I just knew that. But Polko is he's just too obviously good. I mean, he's so good at getting you to feel like you need him. I mean, just looking at the cast, like Badger's building a good relationship with him now. High Space sees utility in keeping Polko. Jalen trusts Polko a ton. Jenny trusts Polko. Jonah trusts Polko. Minnie and Beagle for some reason trust him. Paintbrush trusts him. Phil trusts that. I just named fucking everyone. Like, I could keep going, but I'm just gonna keep saying the same thing. Polko is so well insulated. He has connections across the board. He has an idol that, for the most part, is pretty secret. He has a number 1 who has an idol that he will play for him. I mean, Polko, he's not bad at comps either. He's good at comps. I think if Polko makes the end, that would be the most satisfying conclusion. He has played his ass off this entire game, and he's done it so well. I think if he makes the final 6, he's player of the season, hands down.
It's very impressive. I had a thought, and then the thought just kind of faded, so I lost it now.
I got very passionate about yapping now for a second.
It's my thought is like Parker is just he's very. I'm gonna say this word, and then I'm gonna explain it. He's very aggressive in his gameplay in this way of like he's very what's the word? He's just like very forward when it comes to game talk. He's not afraid.
Yeah.
He is even then. He's a game bot, which I think Jenny has noted. But it's that thing of like he's not afraid. So he's very like strong and goes forwards and like talk game with everyone and anyone, which is such a like everyone is so terrified to talk game with each other a lot of time, which is why that approach of being very aggressive and unafraid to talk game to everybody works so well for him because he's just so able to just get in there and talk game with people and get them to be good with him, which is why he's like able to do that stuff very well because of that thing of like just as a society we have like social anxiety and just the fear of like talking to like people about game and it being awkward or whatever. And like how I see Parker sort of sees it is like he just doesn't give a shit. He just goes for it and he does not care. And I think it is it's one of the best tactics to have in org. As you see, it is working out very well. I think the only hard tactic he does have is he's just not able to do it so quietly. So a lot of people are just very aware that he's like playing very well and doing very well. And it's like that thing in Konoha. As soon as the merge started, his close allies of like Womack and Chona were like, okay, so now it's going to be the slow burn of taking my close ally Parker out. Just need to figure out when. Right now, I don't fully see that, but it's also just that thing of Parker is just very much like the poster child of got to win the game. So they're going to be like, we can't let you get to that point where you can win the game.
They're gonna kick his ass at touchy subjects.
Oh, that's gonna be but he's probably like as long as he self acknowledges that. I think his simple thing is he just needs to acknowledge it and figure out how he can still like get through that because it is such a hard thing to maybe like get past per se. I don't really know. Maybe you just like need to take a nap for one round. I don't know.
Okay. I think you talk about Jenny now.
Jenny, I just see as a similar Parker. I mean,
Jenny's like Parker, but like less of a
social.
threat strategically, but more of a threat socially.
Yeah.
Which should get her farther.
I can see them. I think like in my boost list at the start of season, I put them maybe like back to back. Is they're just both people that have like Parker's a very good strategical player. She's a very good social player, but they just aren't able to get to the end. I've like witnessed Jenny in a lot of orgs get very into the end game, and then she's one of the end game boots. Hell, you see it happened in 8-bit of just like she's socially good, but then when it comes to that thing of like it's that end game, her allies or like the people that oppose her are just like you're gonna win if you get to the end, so you need to go out now. And I think she's not the best at comp. She's not like a comp beast, so it's like it's that hard thing of like her only best like way to get past that is just to get those people at the end to sort of not see her as that. And I very much think I said like her swaps in this season have been interesting because she has been placed in a rough position a lot of the time. She did good in the second swap of like getting high trust with like a lot of the DK and Yoshi people, despite like being from neither tribe, in that tribe having majority for both because the original tribes and first swap. I think like it's impressive to have done that, but still it's just that same thing of I see she's just also another poster child for big threat and will just be taken out at the end unless like something happens. And the hard thing is just you don't know what that something is.
I think something that Jenny has going for her is that Tucker and Zach, they fucking love Jenny. I think those two have made jokes about just straight up throwing the game to her, which like they wouldn't do. But I think those two, if they're on Joy, they would make sure Jenny wins in the end. And I think when you look at this cast, I mean, can you really say that Jenny is a bigger threat than someone like Parker or Zach? Like, would you vote Jenny out over them?
Zach maybe,
I
but
have
that's also
opinions
because
on
I've
Zach.
never actually seen Zach. I've never actually probably seen him play before. The only time was like Fodland, and I wasn't paying too much attention. I just knew he was the front runner like the entire time.
Zach's Foden game is like straight dominance.
Yeah.
I don't think he has any major hiccups. Okay.
Y-
Do you want
I
to get
thought
to
your
the?
mic might have died.
Oh, I thought your mic died for a second.
Nah. Nice. So number 2 then?
Yeah.
Yeah, because my 3 and 4 have just been people that are like playing good games, that I think are just too obviously in the front line that like they obviously will like get swiped. Which is why my 1 and 2 I think are a bit different than that. My number 2 is Paintbrush.
Oh, okay. That's kind of surprises me. I was expecting you to have paint at 1.
Nah, who's your number 2?
Okay, I have Jenny.
Oh, so we have the same number 1.
We do. That's why I was so surprised.
No, I don't know. I think it's just I don't have much to say on Paintbrush. I just do have the acknowledgement of being like, I think he's playing very well. He's been well positioned. Maybe, well, not really well positioned. He kind of had like a rough first and second swap, but it's still that thing of like, you just look at him and I just didn't see him in danger. He has an idol. And like that's good power. It'll be interesting to see when that's played. I kind of pray that like the idols aren't just held on for forever. Um, but it's a hard thing of like when the people who say in power have the idols, it can sometimes be held on to because it's like they're not going to be in danger and they're not going to necessarily maybe use it for like another person. Um, I don't know. It's just that thing of like he's like say the VP to Parker. But obviously Parker's the VP to Paintbrush. I don't mean that like Parker's the president for anyone, but it's like he's like people are gonna go for Parker before they go to paint. They go for Paintbrush, and I think that's a good thing for Paintbrush. I don't know what else to say. I think I'm just waffling more. I just think Paintbrush is well positioned, doing well. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, see, I don't have much to say about Jenny. I feel like we've kind of talked about everything there is to say about Jenny when we talked about Parker. It's just the social side versus just the strategic side.
Yeah.
I just think Jenny is so much of this joy is gonna want to vote her to win. And also, she's supposedly good at trivia, so if she can get to Final Four, that could be huge.
Hmm. Well, she is a teacher. And teachers do have to give exams.
Ah,
So maybe that's like her little inside I don't know. Trivia for me is like it's partially just who's able to type like it's such a weird metric if you can't properly measure it, but it does come down to a skill of I guess I would say memorization and the ability to like stay calm under pressure. Because like when I did the trivia 4 years ago, my hands were shaking every single time I typed stuff. Um, so at one point I won was due to the fact of like that was one of the last things I added onto my spreadsheet, so it was fresh in my mind. Like
yeah.
it's such a random assortment of thing that like your best power in trivia is maybe just having everything just at the top of your head. Um, but it doesn't fully work because some things will be like, say, an episode title, and you need to copy and paste that. You can't just
Mhm.
be like, "Oh, I know it," and then type it up. It's like, no, part of that. It's a whole disarray. But I think, honestly, yeah, if Jenny gets the end, I think she wins. Um, as long as she doesn't have like another big threat up against her.
Mhm. And I think even if she's against a big threat, she probably beats any of them besides Poco, Paint, and Zach. But even then, I think she gets votes on them.
Yeah, those ones would be a battle because I think they maybe have like more strategic chops
Hmm.
than her.
I think we can agree that Jenny destroys Tucker, Phil, Minnie, Jonah, Jalen. Beagle, and Badger.
I mean, I think this top 4, just beats anyone below them if they get to the end.
Yeah, I think these top 4 are very definitive.
It's such a weird thing to say that when like the merge hasn't even been played, and that is like the part where the game starts playing. Like that's where you
Mhm.
probably make the moves and
My
things.
hot take is that people overvalue the merge and undervalue the pre-merge. Like, I think, me personally, when assessing how good someone's game is, every single round should be weighed equally. A, a good round 1 is just as valuable as a good final 4 round. That's just my opinion. I feel like pre-merge is like equal to merge because I think the most valuable thing for like the number one thing I look for in a winner is how much control they have and how dominant they are. If you're someone who's consistently getting your way, that's a lot better than someone who has to scrape their way to the end. But
That hurt.
again, that's just how I see the game. I try and like that's just completely my perspective.
Yeah.
And with the way Survivor is, I mean, everyone has their own perspective, which is why when you look at player rankings, I'm going to be talking about, oh, this person was always at the majority, they got their way so many times, therefore they are the best player. Meanwhile, someone could find 3 idols and win a bunch of challenges, and I could
Woo!
and I could say, oh, that person, yeah, that's impressive, but they go home if they didn't have that stuff. And because of that, you could say, well, their positioning wasn't great, and that tanks them a bit. Not like tanks them. I mean, hell, I gave you Player of the Season in Season 11. Like,
Yeah. Wow, that was a fucking mess there.
Luigi's Mansion is just a clusterfuck of a season.
It's a Luigi fuck. No, but yeah, even then I have like that different thing of like
Editor,
I'm like
cut that out.
no. That thing of like the sorry. That oh, what was it? The thing with like the idols and the comps, like that's also because maybe it's like those are like the games we kind of play. Like I play that maybe idol or comp one, so it's like I'm more inclined to admire that. Hear me out. I think Ben 35. I don't mind his win. I think he's a nice winner. Because
I don't
I find that enjoyment of the idols and the fire making is the only iffy thing, but even then it's like to me it's not his fault.
none of it is his fault.
Yeah.
Like, it's not his fault for playing the game the producers made and
Yeah,
doing it.
that's my thought is like that's just how the game was built for that season. Idols exist in the game for a reason. He found all those idols and took advantage of his shit situation.
Yeah, and like he did a good job doing that. And I can understand why the jury voted for him. But
In the end, they just liked him more.
my hot take is that the best player in that final 3 was not Ben. And it wasn't Chrissy.
Right?
Like, he actually plays a really okay, not an amazing game, but his game is pretty good.
To be honest, I haven't seen the season in a while, so I'm like, I'm not going to contest it. 'Cause I definitely don't think he did nothing. Those two probably just played more like in the face, in the camera. So they were like, yeah.
You know, now that I'm looking at it now, Ryan's ass kind of gets kicked a bit in the mid merge. But other than that, he's always like in the majority leading stuff. I think the reason why Chrissy sees so much success is because okay, no, but a lot of why Chrissy sees so much success is because of Ryan bridging the gap between her and Devin, and that trio really dominating the game. I think Devin's
Yeah,
player of the season that season.
I agree with that. I love how we've
Okay,
turned this into a 35 analysis.
yeah, we need to talk about number 1.
Number one. I was trying to remember if I was gonna say anything else because the Seattle and comp thing got on my mind about something. But yeah, even then, nope. I got nothing. No. That's my thought. I think my thought was gonna be. I think maybe. No. I'm waffling. Let's just go to number one where we both have Zach. Yeah.
Okay, well, he's from the season that's based on Fire Emblem Three Houses, and you know who is from Fire Emblem Three Houses?
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
That's my guy.
He just. I don't know. I just don't think Zach's done anything wrong.
Okay, I think Zach has done a bunch wrong, but he recovers from it so fast that it's like, okay, who cares?
I think
I
he
think
just has like the matrix of the every single like what are the words? The call I don't know. Everything of like the Survivor
he's
3,
a
the
triple
physical.
threat.
Yeah, I think he's just a triple threat.
I mean, he is amazing strategically. Well, okay, most of the time, he's amazing social. I mean, how can you talk to Zach and not like the guy? I mean,
I'm
genuinely.
jealous I'm not in the season because I would love to talk to Zach. Like that's how good.
I talked to Zach post-season after his season wrapped up, just about random shit, and that was a lot of fun. Zach is just such a good conversationalist.
Yeah,
He's also kind of a. I mean, he doesn't stand out as much when you get people like Athena and Highspace and Badger
yeah.
on this cast. But
That's the
Zach
other
is a
thing.
comp beast. If you look at Fodrin, he has 1, 2, 3, 4,
4?
5, 6 comp wins.
Oh, dip.
4 in a row, right at the
Yeah,
end.
that's what I was thinking of.
So impressive. And to be fair, he's against people like Teddy and Dom and Monday. Not the
Yeah.
best comp sets,
That's
but
why it's like it's always a different instance. Like when you look at that of like these people did well in the comps in their season, but it's different. That's like even then why it's like rough to see like the people now and stuff. We touched on it when we were talking about Final 13 in the video before. Like Ellie just had like a different group of players this season, and I think it was because
mhm,
this season you just had like all these people that are like typically the best of like one of these three categories. And so because of
mhm.
that, it's like they're all here to play. They're all strong plays. And it's hard to like go against that, or sometimes some game styles just don't work well when you're up against the best of the best.
Yeah,
But switching into that, Zach is then like good at all three, and he's not the best of any of the three, which I think is why it helps so much. Like Parker is the top of like the social stuff. No, the
strategic
strategical stuff.
stuff.
Jenny is the top of the social
Social.
stuff.
And then
Yes.
Highspace at not strategy. I mean, he is up there, but
I don't know
at
who's actually at the top of the physical. I would say Moo, and now Moo is gone.
well, yeah, Moo's dead. I love you,
Yeah,
Moo.
physical is like
Highspace.
just the one where it like can differ. But yeah, like
I
you got
think
like high space.
Highspace number 1. But if we look at the stats, I think Zach is number 2. He won the drop quote, and he got second in the puzzle of death, which is a pretty good thing to measure general comparability by.
Yeah, I would agree with that metric. Um, yeah, that's actually honestly like a good metric because like the people that are like maybe lower in that, I would say like abstains are a bit of a gray area. Because I think what did Parker abstain?
Yeah, he abstains because he was moving and just didn't have the time.
Yeah, it's that thing where like I think some abstains are like the people that would abstain at a hard comp. Some abstains maybe just like abstain because like they're busy or they just know that this comp isn't their forte. Then you
Yeah,
have like the people that have like the hours into the comp, and it's like these are just people that were like, I'm gonna finish this comp no matter what. Which respect
me
to them.
personally, no, me personally, if I'm taking 2.5 hours on a puzzle, I don't know, man. Just do something else with your life. I
Watch
mean,
What's like Avengers Infinity War? That's 2.5
Yeah,
hours.
like I don't know, catch up with a friend, uh, make a nice meal that you can eat and enjoy. I don't know what
I
I'm going
can't
to.
cook, Cooper. How do I do that?
Oh, dude, I am the. See, okay, I do this one thing very well, and it's called being completely fine at most everything that's like essential, but being too lazy to actually do it. You know?
I
Like,
love that.
I probably would not be the worst chef ever made, but also I don't care enough to be anything but the worst chef ever made, you know?
It's like naturally maybe have like the good skill, but just don't choose to apply
I don't
yourself.
even have the good skill. I just have like I could be mediocre. But
You
instead
could be a mediocre chef, you just don't choose to be.
putting that on my resume.
No, that's the thing I've seen. Like I've seen like somebody with like good natural talent of something, but then they just don't actually choose to refine it or like make it better because they just think they're hot shit. Um, so then they just piss people off because their lackadaisy attitude and energy is just like fuck you.
True. Okay,
You should
Zach,
go on
two-time winner.
MasterChef. Zach 2-time winner. Hmm. I mean, Zach was my winner pick. Before. I think if you ask me my winner pick now, like I'm gonna ask you your winner pick. After I say mine, but I think my winner pick right now is Philium. Um, based on like the formula pattern of just like seeing how orcs work and stuff. I think Philium is playing very well right now, but it's that thing of if if they can get all the threats out, they would be like the next threat in line, and it would be that thing of like the under when like all the threats are taken out and it's sort of like that underrated winner at the end of the game. And like
Mm-hmm.
I see Philium as that person. So I'm like, if Philium can get the end with all those threats out, Philium wins.
I can tell you who's my winner pick.
Zach?
In fact, I can tell you who my top 12 winner picks are.
I am Ferdinand von Ayer.
What do you what is oh yeah. So Zach your winner pick?
Yeah, Zach's my winner pick.
Yeah, it's a good pick. I think I'm just maybe not fully confident in it yet because it's like the start of the merge and I want to see how Zach actually goes in it.
I just
But
think Zach is just such. I mean, if you look at Foden, I don't think he does a single thing wrong. I mean, he votes in the minority once, but it doesn't even matter because it's a 4-3, and there was a file idle that cancels out every single vote, so it doesn't matter. And he's
oh yeah.
voting
And then
with
what?
his number one. And then at the merge boot, he votes in the minority, but it doesn't matter because there's an idle played. And also, he takes out his biggest threat in the game and gets away with it, despite people figuring it out. They just don't care because they like Zach that much. Like, he's just good.
Oh yeah, that was it. I was forgetting like it was something I was trying to remember back then of that thing of like in the pre-merge and stuff, you can be a big threat and shit, but people just don't give a shit because to like that's my thought of the pre-merge is like just the setting people up. And it's that thing of like, yeah, people sort of like acknowledge that you're a big threat and stuff, but it's also one thing of like, do they have the power to take you out yet? No. Do they give a shit yet? No. It's like the much later on where like your priority of who you are targeting changes. So it's like right now people are just going to target maybe who they trust the least. Um, and then say
Yeah,
like final seven, final six is when they start to go, okay, who's got to win this fucking game? If they reach final tribal council and I'm there. It's like
yeah.
that simple thing.
I think in
People
the
don't give a shit.
pre-merge, it it's kind of just like, okay, yeah, this person's a threat, but like, the fuck am I gonna do about it? Like,
Take a
okay,
nap.
yeah, like they were a threat. Okay, okay, and
Yeah, because like that's not necessarily what it's about. It's just simply like you're just targeting like who's at the bottom of the game a lot of the time, which is like definitely how the game starts up at first. Um, so it's just yeah, you're just like the big threats are just gotta hit the merge.
Oh God,
What's poppin'?
this has been a 2 hour long podcast.
Oh fuck! Oh god, I have to re-listen to this all. We went through all our 12.
We did a good job though. I think this was
Boom.
fun.
Here's all our 12 right now as an image on the video. Do we have any final words?
I am Ferdinand von Ayer.
We did a good
Okay.
job.
Okay,
I
so I like those final words, but here are my final words.
I am Ferdinand von Ayer.
Ooh, you got me.
Okay, we got nothing else.
Happy Tuesday, everybody.
It's Wednesday.